Hi, welcome to my blog. My name is Tom Shute, and today we're going to do a redo of the basic eye retouch. For some reason the sound didn't come through, so here's an image that was taken by a friend of mine named Colleen Thomas, and she had a question on how to do eye retouching. So here it is, the basic eye retouch, one of the simplest ways you can do it. So first thing you want to do is you want to zoom in. Okay, so if you zoom into using the Z key and you move your mouse to the left or right, you can zoom the image in. Okay, so now we're just concerned with the whites of the eyes. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and grab a curves tool, and if you hold down the Alt key, and that's the Option key on the Mac, you can do a clipping point the same as in Lightroom. There's your white point clip, and here's your black point. Okay, just wanted to show you those controls. They're the same as in Lightroom, but it's on the curves. Alright, so note that these are the bright side, because if you slide this you can see that the whites go up. So you can do your adjustment here, and we're not concerned with anything else on the image except the whites of the eyes, and in particular the darker portion of the eye. So I'm going to come over here on the curve and on the right side where the brights live, and I'm going to raise it up till the darkest portion of the eye is bright enough to where I think I'm going to do the adjustment, and I'm going to push it up just a little bit more. Okay, not a whole lot, just a little bit more. So now I'm going to go back to this curves, and it's applied a layer mask. Okay, however, it's revealing the whole adjustment on the entire image. We want it just to be applied to the whites of the eye, so we need to invert that mask. So if we hit Control I or Command I on a Mac, that inverts the mask, and we need to grab our brush tool. You can click here or hit the B key. Okay, I'm not going to work with a completely soft edge brush. I'm going to put the softness somewhere around 30. Okay, so now since it's inverted, we need to paint with white. So we're with white, and we're going to come over here and we're just going to paint that effect back in on the eye. And don't worry if it's too bright, because we're going to deal with that in just a second. Right? Just paint it in, and you can be a little sloppy because you don't really know where you're at with this, if you've applied it to the right spot or not. And this is where the mask tool, this overlay that I like to use to determine whether or not I've painted in the right spot. If you hit the backslash key, it's going to show you that overlay. So if we zoom in, we can see that we've put it on the lid of the eye, or the wet line of the eye. So I'm going to hit I need to be painting in black. I'm going to hit the X key. I'm going to bring my brush smaller. I'm going to hit the X key again. And I'm just going to take that off that wet line, and I'm just going to show a little bit of it. Make sure that it's completely covered up here. Alright, that side looks pretty good. Now we'll go look at this side. I'm not trying to make the fleshy part brighter. Just the whites of the eye is all we're concerned with. And if you mess up, you can just invert the brush and go back. And sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge to get when you're working with a mouse. I've put my tablet up, my Wacom tablet. Okay, so that looks pretty good, and I need to pull it off up here. So I want to make sure that the color of the eye isn't covered. Okay, so now that we've got our mask the way we want, actually I need to hide this flesh over here. Okay, we can hit our overlay, and when you're looking really up close at the eye, you can't really tell whether or not if it's too bright. Obviously you can see that it's too bright, but as you back off and get small with the image, you can see she looks kind of like an alien. If you come over here and grab our opacity, we can take that effect off. I always judge the brightness of the eye with the image far away, because I don't want it to look like an alien. And you can see clearly when it turns into that alien. So as I move this opacity to the right, just watch at the point where she starts to look alienish, like right in here she looks like an alien. you can just see it pop. Alien, not an alien. Alien, not an alien. So we back off to where she's not an alien. Somewhere in that area. Okay. Now we'll zoom back in. And I'll show you the before and after. There's before and there's after. So there's a dramatic change, but it's subtle. You just don't want to overdo this effect. Okay. Now I always say in the past that you want to duplicate your background layer, and that is if you're going to do any changes on that layer, you want to have a safety net. Well, when you work with the curves tool or the levels tool, you really don't have to have a background layer because we're not applying anything to that layer. But if you need to duplicate, which I always recommend you do at the beginning, it's Control J or Command J on the Mac, so that we have our background copy. So we have a safety net down here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply a levels adjustment. So you come down here to the same thing and you hit levels, okay? And at this point you can adjust your brightness of the eye here, the mid-range of the eye here, and this is the dark areas, okay? So let's zoom in and let's make some adjustments into the eyes, and we're just focusing on the iris and the pupil area. So we're going to darken it a little bit, okay? Not too much where we lose all the detail. Just going to darken it right in this area. We'll adjust our mid-tones here, so we'll open up some of that mid part of the eye, or that marbling. And then the bright portion of the eye, we'll just bring this in here too. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do here is we're going to apply that same technique as we did with the curves. We're going to invert the mask, Control I or Command I, and we're going to come back with our brush tool and we're going to paint that effect in. So you can see that our curves adjustment is still affecting the overall top of the image because it's on the top layer. So we'll grab our levels and we'll just paint in with white that effect on the eye. Okay? You start to see the detail pop out in the eye. Okay? Do the same thing on this side. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to do the same thing with the overlay. Make sure I've got everything on the eye the way I want, and I'm not in the whites of the eye. Okay. I'm going to hit X over here. Now I like to leave a dark edge around the eye itself. Okay, and I don't like to apply anything to the lid area of the eye because there's like a shadow there on the eye. So I'm going to hit X again, and I'm going to feather my brush this time. Let's get rid of this overlay so you can see. So I'm going to feather my brush to a soft edge, okay, and then I'm going to go back in and I'm going to hide this effect. So I'm going to be painting in black right along the lid portion of the eye. Okay, just hide that effect because there's always a shadow there right where the top of the lid meets the eye. And then I'm also going to take it off around this edge. Okay, so I'm just going to go right on this edge with a harder edge brush. Okay, and I'm just going to remove it around the edge of the eye, just so it's got that dark ring around the edge. Okay, now we can see the before and the after of the eye, and if it looks too much, you just grab your opacity and you drag it down. So we bring it all the way off and we start to bring it up till it looks real and natural. Okay, and somewhere around there looks pretty good to me. So I'll just back this effect off, back the image off. We see a before and an after, and it maybe if it's too much, again you can mess with the fill also, so we can drag the fill down a little bit, and there's a before and an after. So we zoom back in, you can kind of see the final result. That's a little too much. Okay, so there's the center portion of the eye, and then there's the brightness of the eye. Well, thank you all for visiting my blog today, and I'm sorry about the sound on the first video. I don't know exactly what happened. So hopefully this video will help you understand how to do a basic eye retouch. So again, I want to thank you all for visiting my blog today. And until next time, we'll see you soon.